What's up again, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're gonna talk about BOLTYN. We're gonna talk about Light Warrior, and I've made it no secret that I believe that Light Warrior is hugely underrated. I underrated it myself, in fact, when I first started playing this expansion. When this set dropped, I thought to myself, man, these are some cool effects, but it's gonna be really hard to do all the things that you want to do on a turn, and I've since come around to realize that it is possible to do some absolutely bonkers stuff with BOLTYN if you take the time to figure out how and make some concessions. But all of that is perhaps for another video, because today we're going to talk about the top 7 BOLTYN cards. These are Light Warrior cards. These are not cards from the Light card pool, and I almost put cards from the Warrior card pool in here. I was so close. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should. I don't know. You tell me in a comment below if you think any of the normal Warrior Monarch cards should make this list. I was very close to putting Plow Through on this list because Plow Through is hugely underrated and very, very good. But it didn't make the list. I kept it to Light Warrior cards only. And honestly, these are still fantastic cards. These cards are incredible. So let's go through the list from 7 to 1. Some of these I did have a little bit of trouble like actually figuring out the ordering of, so you can comment on that in a comment below. Tell me what cards you think are the best for this class, and tell me what order you'd put those cards in. It's like a play-along game. Maybe I'll have a prize for the person that leaves me the comment with that I like the most. I don't know, something like that. Or maybe if there's a bunch of people that like your comment and you've left me your list, maybe we'll go from there. That seems like a fun little mini game. Oh, by the way, before we get started, if you want to support this channel, if you would like to pick up some really good singles, every time I say that it just sounds so wrong. I don't mean that in a dating sense. If you'd like to pick up like card game singles, TCG singles, it's still kind of weird when you think about it that way. Okay, look, there's affiliate links in the description. There's one for Red Riot Games, which, by the way, has a huge tournament coming up. It's a skirmish event. It's online. You need to go check out the Red Riot Games page and get info for that. They have some insane prizes. I was talking with him, and he was telling me what they're putting on the line, and it's like incredible prizing. If you want to play in an event and have a chance to win some crazy prizing, and including giveaway stuff, head on down to Red Riot Games, the link in the description, or just like it's like right below. Maybe I'll just put it in the very top description so you can see it. Head there because it's super, super, super worth your time. Plus, if you buy stuff, you help support the channel that way. There's also links down there for Deck Edge. Deck Edge is fantastic for picking up boxes of Flesh and Blood. And if you haven't been using FabDB, you should be. I don't know what you're doing. Instead, you should use FabDB because FabDB is fantastic. In fact, I very recently released a Flesh and Blood deck list archive that's available for patrons that are $3 and up. It's a compendium of my own personal deck lists, sorted out by hero. It's an exhaustive list of all the heroes. I'm going to be adding to it constantly. I may even add some community submission deck lists as well. So if you think like this deck list is really good, it's from my friend, or it's this top 8 list that happened in our local group, send that to me and I may add that as well. But all of those deck lists are from FabDB. All of them are built on FabDB. Everything is run through FabDB because that website is fantastic. So you need to go and be a part of FabDB as well. Okay, enough of all of that. Let's talk about these 7 cards, starting with number 7. This is Express Lightning. Now, it's kind of weird. You look at this card and you're like, I mean, it's a 0 for 4, and like, honestly, you could just stop there. It's a 0 for 4, people, and that is incredible. A 0 for 4, just attack for free. Think about that in any other context, in any other, like in any other class, okay? If you're playing Ranger, you would gladly put a 0 for 4 in your deck. I mean, in fact, you do. You put like Scar for a Scar in your deck. There's a new card that came out, what is that one called with the ninja looking off into the distance? It's a generic from Monarch. It's like find, it's not find center, obviously. It's like something or other, something something. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen because I'm dumb and I can't remember it. That card's a 0 for 4, the red version. This is a 0 for 4, except it also turns on all of BOLTYN's ability, allowing you to charge a card, which makes it possibly a 0 for 5. That's stupid. This card is really good. And in fact, not only is this card really good, it's almost an auto-include in every BOLTYN deck you'll ever build. And you're going to hear me say that with several of these cards. This card is like one of the linchpin kind of base cards that you always put into decks. And I feel like BOLTYN is more so than just about any of the other classes in this set. This is an auto-include. He has a ton of cards that are like that. It's like, okay, I'm building a BOLTYN deck. Grab these cards, grab that card, throw them in the deck, then add everything else. This is one of those cards. So for me, it takes the 7 slot. Next up, we have, boop, Battlefield Blitz. This is a card you may not actually have on your list. And in fact, if you haven't tried playing the red Battlefield Blitz, heck, even the yellow one's still pretty good, but the red particularly, if you've never tried playing this card in BOLTYN, you owe it to yourself to do so, because it's a 1 for 5, but if you've charged this turn, it's a 1 for 5 with go again, and it could be a 1 for 6. Attacking for 6 with go again, guaranteed, in a class that wants to charge and turn BOLTYN's effect on, and it wants to perhaps buff attacks so that it can give go again. You don't even have to give this go again, because you charge and then it gains go again. You don't have to do the attack react, banish a card from soul, give go again. This just gets it, which means you can play turns like take flight, charge, has go again. Battlefield Blitz, has go again. All I had to do for that was pitch a yellow card to pay the 2 resources and charge a card, of course. Put one of those things in your arsenal and you're free with a couple of cards left in your hand to just do crazy stuff. Like, that's really, really good. This is a really good card. It's highly underrated in my opinion, and it's one that should be included in just about every list. Perhaps if you're playing like a BOLTYN that uses sabers, you may not care. BOLTYN that really only focuses on like axes, you may not care. But this card, if you're playing like Charge BOLTYN, which I think is a fantastic deck, I've said it time and time again, if you're playing Charge BOLTYN, this is an auto-include as well. Next up, number 5. This is the 5th best card. You may have this higher, and maybe it deserves to be higher. I don't know. I struggled putting this one. I think at one point when I was making this list, I put it 3rd, and then I put it 4th, and now it's 5th. Because the more I play BOLTYN, the more I'm like, this card's awesome, but so are these other cards. So Lumina Ascension is just the nuts. It's a BOLTYN specialization. Costs 0. Until the end of the turn, weapons you control gain +1, and that's important because, again, that turns on BOLTYN's effect. It also says, if this weapon hits, then you take a card from the top of your deck, you reveal it. If it's a light card, it goes into your soul. You gain 1 life, which is gross. So you get a card in your soul and you gain a life. Otherwise, it just goes to the bottom of your deck. But if you've built a predominantly light card deck, then this hits a light card, puts a card into your soul, allowing you to do crazy things down the road or on the same turn, and also gain a life. And the gain life is not inconsequential in Blitz. If you're gaining life in Blitz, you are very, very, you're in an advantageous position, we'll put it that way. Also, hold up, if you have charged, your weapons gain, you can attack with it again this turn. They put Twinning Blade onto, like, I don't even know how to describe the other half of this card. It's like Twinning Blade with like Iron Song Determination. Like, it's like a weird combo of both. I don't know. Either way, all I'm saying is this card is good. This card can be played in like just about any form of BOLTYN. So no matter what BOLTYN you want to play, this card can fit into it. I play it in Charge BOLTYN. I play it in Swords, like Saber BOLTYN. Obviously, you have to play it in Saber BOLTYN because that's the combo. You can play it in normal axes. I mean, this really just goes in just about anything you want. So this is the 5th best card? So it only gets better from here. In number 4 is Raiden Duskbane. This card could be higher too. It's so hard. All of these cards are so good. Raiden Duskbane is a weapon that attacks for nothing, unless you charge, at which point it attacks for 3. And you're like, okay, fine. But it costs nothing to do. It costs you no resources to attack. It's a 0 for 3 if you've charged. And because the base attack goes from 0 to 3, you can always attack react. You can always attack react. When I first saw this card, I was kind of low on it. I was like, okay, that's cool, but those axes are really neat. I think it's just because the axes were like sexier. They're like, we have axes in the game now. Yes, Spill Blood is so cool. And the more I thought about this card, and the more I realized it costs nothing, it attacks for 3, it always attack reacts, I was like, this card is nuts too. This card is very, very nuts, particularly in some crazy combos with some cards we're about to see. This card can do some absolute work because it can get even stronger, and you can always just attack with it for free, and you can always attack react to give it go again. Because of that consistency factor, this card is insane. So this is the number 4. Now we're on to the number 3. Number 3 is Beacon of Victory. But if you read it fast enough, it's Bacon of Victory, and that's what's cool too. Bacon of Victory costs 0, again. It's an attack reaction. And we haven't talked a lot about attack reactions in BOLTYN because he doesn't have a ton of them. You can run things like Razor Reflex, you can run other stuff like that, but this attack reaction is fantastic. So in order to use this card, you have to have a card in your soul. You're going to banish this and give plus X, X is whatever you banished, however many cards you banish from your soul, to an attack. Now, this is a game winner in a sense that, like, yes, it pushes things over the top after they've declared blocks, so you could win games with this. But what's really amazing is the next portion of text. If you've charged this turn, search your deck for an action card with cost X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And it says action card. Attack actions are action cards. Non-attack actions are action cards. Those are 2 subtypes. So you can grab either of those subtypes, a card from those subtypes, and you can put that into your hand based on the number of cards you banish to give this attack plus X. So if you banish 2 cards, you can go get a 2-cost action card. That could be an attack action, like Command and Conquer. It could be a non-attack action, like Lumina Ascension that we just talked about. You could go and fetch either of those 2 things after you play this card. The fact that this is a buff, which is really good in this game, and a tutor effect, which gets you combo pieces that you want, and it reminds me of Singing Steelblade in all the best ways. It reminds me of Singing Steelblade, so this is most definitely one of the best cards in the class. You should play a bunch of these if you're kind of leaning towards that charge variant. Now, if you're not playing charge, you know, if you're not playing like any charge effects, if you're only doing like attacks with weapons, then this doesn't have as much utility. But I don't see a lot of those decks out there. There's always some level of charging when you're playing BOLTYN, because that's how he gets cards into his soul so that he can banish those and give things go again. So if you're playing BOLTYN, if you're playing Light Warrior, this card's a shoo-in. Speaking of shoo-ins, the next 2 cards, the second and the best card in my opinion in BOLTYN. These are some good ones. The second best card is Take Flight. This was for the longest time the best card in my opinion. So I'm curious if you can guess what the best card is. Now that you know that this is the second best, Take Flight is a shoo-in. This should be in all of your decks, BOLTYN decks. This should be in all of your Light Warrior decks. Like how many can you put in the deck? Put that many. That's the answer, right? Take Flight, cost 1. The red here attacks for 4. The yellow attacks for 3, the blue attacks for 2. The blue oftentimes I include just to pitch, but sometimes you just still play them in that pinch because you have the go again effect, and we should talk about that. If you charge this turn, and this card allows you to charge, if you charge this turn, this gains go again. Okay, the fact that this automatically gives go again and it puts a card into your soul means that you're setting up combos for later in the turn. You play this, you charge, it gains go again by itself, meaning you don't have to remove the card you charged, you know, and hope that this gains some buff, like your opponent blocks with an attack action card, something like that, to give it go again. It just gets go again. It just has go again. And again, just like Battlefield Blitz, this is like one of those combo like enabler cards. It's one of those inherent go again effect in BOLTYN is incredibly powerful. Just like I said with Battlefield Blitz, this enables Battlefield Blitz. You play this card, you charge a card, you pitch a yellow to pay for it, then you play Battlefield Blitz red, and then Battlefield Blitz is threatening 5 or 6 damage and has go again as well. Like that's a super solid setup turn. Super good card. This enables so many things, and just gaining go again already and attacking for a fantastic breakpoint of 4, particularly on the red. This card's insane. This card's incredible, but it's not the best card in BOLTYN. The best card in BOLTYN is V of the Vanguard. V of the Vanguard is a game winner, okay? And it's a subtle game winner. It's one of those that you go, okay, they start with a V of the Vanguard on the beginning of their turn, particularly in charge BOLTYN. Okay, that could be a little bit scary, but then you don't realize what it can do for the rest of the turn until you see it done to you. V of the Vanguard costs 1. It attacks for only 3. It doesn't have go again, but it does allow you to charge, and not just charge once. It allows you to charge as many cards into your soul from your hand as you want, okay? And then attacks you control on this combat chain gain +1 attack for each light card charged this way. So let's just say that you are going to play V of the Vanguard and charge 1 light card, okay? All of a sudden, V of the Vanguard gets its own buff. It gets +1 because it's on the combat chain. It gets +1, thus making the base and the new attack variable, right? The new attack is higher than the base, so you can attack react with what you just charged to give this go again. And you're like, cool, okay, that's fine. It would be charging 1, it would be attacking for 4. That's a good break point. But it's a 1 for 4. Isn't like Express Lightning a 0 for 4? Isn't that better? Well, no, because if you charge 1, give this go again, let's say you had some cards in your soul already, the next attack you make also has +1. Thus giving it a higher attack than its base, allowing you to make that one have go again. Then the next attack you play also gets +1. This will continue for as many attacks as you can play on the combat chain. Now, if you break the combat chain, V of the Vanguard's buff goes away. So like if you crack an equipment during the combat chain, that would break the combat chain. So don't do that. Crack the equipment beforehand. If you play like an action card, like a non-attack action card, that would break the combat chain. So do that beforehand if you want that card to be in play during your big attack. But if you keep a combat chain going, then V of the Vanguard's buff applies to all cards future, allowing you to remove a card from soul and give that thing go again. That is incredibly powerful. That is incredibly powerful, and it's game winning. For example, if you play V of the Vanguard, and you tuck one card into your soul, and then you give go again to V of the Vanguard, and because it gained +1, and then you play Battlefield Blitz, that's attacking for 6. In order to play those 2 cards, all you have to do is pitch a yellow card and charge 1 card to your soul. And that is attacking for 6 with go again, Battlefield Blitz, and then you can attack with Raiden, the card we talked about earlier. That's attacking for 4. You'd have a 4 attack, a 6 attack, and then a 4 attack. That's 14 damage. One of them's a weapon attack, and it's free. Like, that weapon attack is free. That's a disgusting turn in Blitz, okay? That's ridiculous in Blitz. That's just a casual turn. You can do crazy stuff with this. You tuck 2 cards from this effect, both of them light cards. Everything after this is +2. So you start with this in your arsenal. You have a full hand of 4 cards. You play this, pitch a yellow, charge 2 cards. That leaves you with 1 card in your hand. So this obviously has 5 attack doing so, which is really scary for your opponent. You give it go again from one of the cards that you charged. You play something else, like you could attack with your weapon, for example, which, by the way, if you attack with your weapon and charge 2 cards, your weapon attacks for 5. That's disgusting. You give that go again, and then you just slam down any last card, and it's got a 2 attack buff. The best one is Bolting Blade. You slam down Bolting Blade at the end, it normally attacks for 7. You charged twice, so you are playing Bolting Blade for nothing, for 0, and it's attacking for 9. It's attacking for 9. That's a 19 damage turn. Okay, with a full hand and V of the Vanguard in Arsenal, or any card like Bolting Blade in Arsenal. That's so gross. You take whatever damage your opponent has, you set that turn up, and you win the game. That's just, it's so disgusting. I mean, they could block it out or whatever, but they've lost their entire hand and some equipment. This is the enabler card. You put this into your deck. You put as many of them as you can into your deck, and you're happy to see them when you draw them. So that's my list for BOLTYN. What do you think about my list. Do you like all of these cards? Are you a fan of these cards? Are they good for you? These are... BOLTYN has been absolutely fantastic to play. I do think he's underrated in Blitz. I'm really interested to try him out in Classic Constructed, where things are a little bit more slow-paced and you can take a little bit more damage. I don't know how that's going to affect his overall play. I think Charge BOLTYN is a really interesting deck to play, so I'm looking forward to playing him in Classic Constructed. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and the subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about the whole thing in a comment below. And oh, by the way, hey, look. Hey, we're climbing. We're climbing. Let's go. Let's go to 5K. Geez, if we hit 5,000 subscribers, by the end of my summer, before I go back to work, because I'm a teacher, if we hit 5,000 subscribers by then, I should do something really crazy. Leave me a comment down below. What crazy thing should I do if we hit 5K before the end of the summer? I'd love to know. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.